Okay. Hey, I'm not here to waste your time. You have a question, how to stay committed to your goals. And I have this whole presentation for you, a practical step by step for you to follow, for you to solve this problem. The difference between excellence and mediocrity is commitment. And I know that you want excellence because you're on my channel. I've been consistent on my YouTube channel to specifically attract someone like you, someone that doesn't want an average life. Someone that has dreams, goals, aspirations, and that knows that they need to be on self-improvement because they are their most valuable asset. But the problem that you have is that you struggle with consistency. And that's why you haven't seen much change or much progress as best as you can. If you want to be consistent, you have to be committed. I'm here to teach you how to be committed because if you don't know me, my name is Bianca St. George. Nice to meet you. Thanks for subscribing. But I'm a professional soccer player. And I feel very fit to talk about commitment because I had to be very consistent with my effort to become in the top 1% of athletes that become a professional. And because it is a skill that I have embodied and has become part of my identity, I have learned to translate my self-discipline in other areas of my life, such as self-improvement. That's what I do on my YouTube channel, is to teach you to self-improve. Recently, I decided to challenge myself by creating a challenge called the 30-Day Self-Improvement Challenge, where people go on there and pick 6 habits that they need to improve for a whole month. I have been able to reunite over 3,500 like-minded individuals into this challenge. But I was curious who was actually committed to this 30-day self-improvement challenge because I knew it would be difficult. So I decided to ask a question in a poll. I said, be fucking for real. No, I just said, don't lie to yourself. Tell me, are you simply interested or are you committed? With the result, I was able to conclude this. 58 people were going to fail. I knew this because when you know you're simply interested, it guarantees failure because it gives you the option to give up. And you give up when things are hard or not going your way, and that is guaranteed to happen in a challenge. Versus the people that are committed, that's a different story. When you are committed, you are guaranteed to succeed because every little quote unquote failure is viewed as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and be a step closer towards your goals. How many times have I failed to become a pro athlete? I have got cut from teams, I have gotten benched, I have gotten low minutes, I got hurt, I played bad games, I missed PKs, I got red cards, I have embarrassed myself over and over again by failing, yet I'm still a professional athlete. I have failed over and over again, but because I was committed to my goal, I always picked myself up, learned, and tried again. Ultimately, what determines your level of commitment is dependent on how you perceive failure. So this is step 1 of this whole process. You need to redefine the meaning of failure. For example, let's say you fail at waking up early. That's something that a lot of people want to do. It's a small goal that people have. And instead of waking up early, you snooze for 2 hours and it made you miss your workout. Interested people will say, I'm such a disappointment. I'm never gonna change. I suck at being self-disciplined. To the contrary, though, committed people will be like, why did I snooze? Well, I felt tired. Why did I feel tired? Because I went to bed late the night before. Why did I go to bed late the night before? Because I was scrolling through TikTok. Okay, so what's the solution? The solution is that I create a rule where I'm not allowed to go on TikTok or be on my phone before bed. And I need to put my phone 8 feet away from my bed so that I have to wake up to turn off my alarm in the morning. The mindset is different. Failure is simply a problem that needs to be solved. When you're committed, you are required to face the truth, to face the fact that you are doing toxic behaviors, that you are the person that comes in the way from your failures. The only way that you can solve the problem that you're facing, that is a roadblock towards your goals, is by facing the truth about what you're doing that is holding you back. A mistake that a lot of people that are interested do is that instead of facing the truth, they might not say necessarily bad things to themselves, but they might cope by soothing themselves with excuses. So maybe they are disappointed for snoozing in the morning, but instead of being like, oh, I'm such a loser for sleeping in, they will be like, oh, I needed that sleep because I haven't really slept well lately, which is a lie because, well, maybe you haven't slept that well, but you were actually just scrolling through TikTok or watching Netflix before bed. Do you see that there is a difference in the narrative between interested and committed people? Committed people do not punish themselves with abusive thoughts or self-sabotaging behaviors. They are proactive about finding a solution to their failures, to their problem. You can pause through this slide here if you want to read more about interested and committed people so you really understand the difference. But ultimately, realize it's how you respond to failure that determines your success. That is step 1. Step 2, you have to make your dreams bigger than your excuses. I love this one. Let's get into it. People committed to their dreams, it's not like they have it all figured out and it's easy at that point. It's not like they have no hardship, no self-doubt, and tunnel vision where nothing is holding them back. There's actually one thing that is guaranteed when you're on your road to success. It's adversity. Adversity is inevitable. It's inevitable that you will have obstacles. It's inevitable that you will have misfortunes or people, things, situations out of your control holding you back. You will for sure have chaos and unpredictability. And all of those things are going to be seeds to your excuses for why you will quit. If you're not aware of this, if you're not prepared that it will be hard, your excuses will become bigger than your dreams. Take a second right now and really fully grasp this. Your excuses will always haunt you. They will always be in the back of your head telling you you're not meant for success and that you should give up. You will always have reasons why things are just too hard and that you should just not continue. That is guaranteed to happen no matter where you are on your journey. So now what are you going to do about it? How are you going to respond to the fact that you'll always have excuses that are going to creep in your mind all the time? That's where you need to make your dreams bigger than your excuses. What does it mean to make it bigger? It means that you need to make your dreams a priority and a non-negotiable. So let me give you an example to illustrate this. People that have kids. If you're a parent and you have a kid, usually that is a priority in your life, okay? It's kind of like a no-brainer. Will moms make the excuses such as, I don't have time, I'm tired, I had a rough day at work, I didn't sleep much, as a reason to not feed their baby? No, because their kid is their priority. It doesn't matter how hard life is, it doesn't matter what is thrown their way, they will always find a way to make sure that their baby is safe, loved, and nurtured. Her commitment to being a mom is a non-negotiable. So that is your task right now. You need to make your dream your responsibility, bigger than your excuses. Just like you're a mom that's trying to feed your kid, that no matter what goes in their way, they're going to find a way to feed their kid. You need to make that about your dream. No matter what happens, you're going to make your dream happen. So how do you do that? I got you. I got you. Sorry, I get really fired up with this. So excuses. Excuses, usually they come up with a lot of emotional baggage. So what you have to do with your dream is to make sure that your goals are even more deeply rooted and emotional than your excuses. So now the question is, how do you make your goals more emotional, more ingrained in you? This is where I have like a step-by-step within the step-by-step, okay? I hope you follow along. So the first thing you want to do is you need to envision your dream life. And that's something that we all kind of know. It doesn't matter if you don't know what direction, what career to have, or where you're going to live. You kind of have an idea deep down. You're like, oh, I want to be able to travel everywhere. I want to have a family. I want to live on a cottage. You have some ideas of some things that you want in your life. Either it's a feeling that you're chasing, either it's possessions, either it's your environment. You kind of know what you want. So this is all about knowing the big picture. And once you start thinking about this, that already stirs up a lot of emotions. You're like, wow, I really do want that life. And the most wonderful thing I'm going to tell you right now is that it is in your own hands to achieve that life. You can actually get that. Okay? This is the purpose of my videos eventually, is to get that dream life that you want. The reason why you have goals is to support your dream life. It's to be on track to that big vision you have for yourself. So the second step is to make an authentic decision about what you want and who you want to be. This is where you need to make one goal. You need to pick one thing that you're going to focus on, that you're going to commit to. And this step can be a little bit difficult because you have to dig deep and find out what you really want. That is why I did put the word authentic decision. It has to be authentic. It cannot be what your parents want. It cannot be copying your friends or doing what your partner expects from you. It is not following what society tells you. It is you going at the deep root core of what you desire and envision about the dream life that you want. Usually something that is aligned to that big picture is something related to health, wealth, or relationships. And I know you probably have tons of ideas in your mind, like you want to be fit, you want to make money, you want to find your partner. You need to pick the one that feels like the biggest priority, the one that will have the most impact on the others. For example, maybe you getting fit will allow you to find a more suitable partner for you because you want a partner that is self-disciplined and into fitness, but you cannot attract that if you are not that yourself. Maybe you want to make more money because if you have more money, you have more status and you have access to the type of woman that you want. Like, you have to be real raw with yourself and ask yourself, what do you actually desire? Because there's no point of creating these goals and commitments if it's not aligned to your authentic self. That's why it's never going to stick if it's not something that you genuinely care about. Be emotional, be raw, be unfiltered, and look at yourself naked and be not actually naked, but look at yourself truthfully and ask yourself, what is the most important thing that I need to do to make my dream life happen? You have to make sure that the goal you're thriving for is something that is actionable, achievable, and measurable. So I gave you an example here. Let's say you want to get fit and you want to have a nice, healthy body. Is it actionable? Yes, because you can go to the gym. Is it achievable? Yes, because you have a body and you're able to move. And is it measurable? Yes, because you can track your weight and body fat percentage. So make sure that those three are checked off for your goal. The third step in creating a deeply rooted and emotional goal is to do some research and then craft a plan. You cannot plan everything from A to Z. All you have to focus on is planning the next couple moves, because there's so much unpredictability and you will learn a lot about yourself along the way and you will want to adjust. So don't spend too much time figuring out your 5-year plan. Just focus something a little bit more short term where you can hit a certain milestone. A good thing to think about is you already know where you want to be. Let's say you want to be fit and lean. Now you just have to think, where are you starting? Okay, just be real about yourself. What do you know? What can you do? What do you have access to? How much do you actually train? What do you like about your body? What do you want to change? You have to see where you're starting and where you're going. And your goal with the planning is to figure out the bridge between those two states. So while you do your research, you're going to come up with a plan that's going to bridge that gap between those two. For example, something that I've done is a couple years ago, I realized that I wanted to be financially free, that I was in control of my financial success and that I needed to take responsibility for my life. So I knew where I wanted to go. I knew that that was my dream. But then when I looked at my life, it's like, that's not where I'm at. And what can I work with myself and my situation right now that I can gain some professional experience, I can build my resume, I can be more confident and also make some money. And with all of that, I concluded that I could become a personal trainer. So then I got to work. I researched, how do you become a personal trainer? I realized that I needed to get certified. I needed to choose my rates. I needed to create a pamphlet so I could market myself and post on Facebook groups to see who would be interested, how I can get leads. And then eventually I had to book some clients and work with my schedule and then deliver on my promise and refine my product. And the reason why I was able to follow through and be consistent and actually become a personal trainer and get some clients and make money was because I was very specific and clear about the process, about what I had to do. When you're very clear about the steps, you're more likely to follow through. And that's why I know by the end of this video, you're going to have such an easier time to be committed to your goals because you will have the step-by-step that I'm giving you to follow through. You will know what you need to know to follow through. Already, when you are clear, you're more likely to succeed. So this brings me to the step 4, is to actually stick to your plan. That's how you create some passion. That's how you create more emotion because you are investing your time into this one thing. So that will grow your emotional attachment to your goal because you will see yourself over and over again doing that one thing. The reason why people fail to see progress in anything in life is because they have their attention spread out in so many different directions. If you put your attention on one thing, you will make progress 1,000 times faster. You will feel happier, you will feel more motivated, you will feel energized, you will feel more focused, and then you can translate those skills into other goals that you will set for yourself after that. But you need to sacrifice all those other little goals or not as important goals and focus on that one thing right now that you will stick to. And my personal advice is to try to stick to something for 3 months. I like 3 months because it's like a season. I think we work well as in a pattern of a season, but don't try to do it too short where it's not long enough for you to see progress. I know you might be worried about making the wrong decision. I just want you to know that you will not make a wrong decision if you actually just take the time in a good state of mind, being rational and using your best judgment possible. You will not make the wrong decision because you're doing your best with what you know. And if after a period of time you realize it was not meant for you, it's much better that you do that now and you figure that out and you can move on to something else than wait 5 years thinking that that's a goal that you want to do and you're not consistent doing it, and then wasting this whole time wanting something that you don't actually want. So whatever you do, whatever you commit to, you will learn more about yourself, and that will get you a step closer to your dream life. When I graduated college, I graduated a pre-med degree and I had a 4.0. I had a straight A's because I was actually committed to my education. I wanted to give myself the most chances to enter medical school if that was something that I wanted to do, because I wasn't sure if that's something that I wanted. So that was something I had to figure out for myself. Do I want to go to medical school? So what I did was I committed to figuring that out. I committed to figure out if that was meant for me. I ended up doing an internship in cardiac rehab. I ended up shadowing people. I interviewed medical professionals. I did my homework and I read books to try to figure out if that's something that I wanted. And you know what? After a couple months, I realized that was not meant for me. I realized that that is not something that I want. But in the process of realizing I did not want this, I figured out something that I do want: entrepreneurship. I would have never known I wanted to be an entrepreneur if I just blindly followed through the conception that I wanted to be a doctor without actually putting the time to discover if that's what I wanted for myself. I am so glad I put in the time. So just know that whatever you try right now, it's not going to be wasted. You're going to learn so much about yourself. Now, the last step about making your dreams deeply rooted and emotional is to make sure that you journal every single day. Do not skip this step. This is probably the most important thing that you can do. Journaling is a super powerful weapon. It allows you to improve your decision making. It allows you to have like this sort of tunnel vision because you're constantly reminding yourself that that's what you're working towards. And it also strengthens that commitment because you're literally putting your whole attention onto that one thing. And you need to document everything. Document your thoughts, document your ideas, the problems that you're facing, the progress that you're making, some insights that you have. Because altogether, you might not know right now what it means, but looking back, you will be able to connect the dots. You will be able to see patterns. You will be able to have some insights into something that you're meant for, maybe your purpose. So those were the 5 steps on how to make your goals more emotional and more intense than your excuses. Now, step 3. Step 3 is to list your sacrifices. You and I both know that to stick to something, to commit, to see progress, it's to be self-disciplined. You know that. This is a marathon, not a sprint. This is self-discipline for the long run. And when we talk about self-discipline, we need to talk about sacrifices. Self-discipline is delaying gratification. We all have access to instant gratification all the time. Partying, weed, social media, TV, video games, alcohol. We have instant dopamine at the tip of our fingers 24/7. If you want to commit to your goals, you also have to commit to the sacrifices you will make. How do you know what to sacrifice? Think about what usually distracts you. What are things that you know are the culprit or the excuses to why you can't accomplish something? It could be your friends. It could be your phone. It could be food. What are the temptations that usually drive you away from being self-disciplined? And the thing is, that's when you really know if you're going to be committed, because to sacrifice some things will feel very uncomfortable. And if you're not willing to sacrifice those things, at that point, you should just actually give up because you are not committed. When you are committed, you need to make sacrifices. You cannot want everything at the same time. You have to have some sort of unbalance. If you want your life to be different than the average person, if you want your life to be in the top 1%, you cannot have a balanced life. You kind of need to go extreme. If you want extreme results, you need extreme behavior. So that means you need to sacrifice a lot for you to actually make the most progress into your goal. Remember, the goal that you're working towards is something that you want more than what you're doing right now. And if you face the truth about what you're willing to sacrifice and you're clear about that, that's good because that adds clarity. And remember, clarity equals consistency. So if there's anything that can help you, you can make rules for yourself. For example, I know that I can really abuse fiction books. Like I can really get into it and use it as a distraction towards the work that I have to do. So my rule is I can only read as of 9 p.m. and I have to go to bed by 10 p.m. So if I'm in bed at 9:45, I only have 15 minutes to read. If I'm ready for bed at 8 p.m., I'm not allowed to read. So I have to make those rules for myself. Now, the last step is probably the most underwhelming step that you want to hear, but it is the most overlooked skill. Patience. You need to be patient. You need to allow yourself time to do its work. Because we are convincing ourselves that things should be easy, that things should be instant because of everything that happens nowadays. We can shop online and get stuff delivered the next day. We can get our food to our door. We can go on TikTok and get instant dopamine. It's so easy for us to get rewards nowadays. But for something like a goal that is fulfilling, that is deeply rooted, that is big, that is different than the average person, that's going to take time. That cannot be easy. If not, everyone would be there and no one would be average. So you need to be patient. You need to allow time to do its thing. You need to give respect to your goal. So here are some tricks that I found that allows me to be more patient. If you want to be more patient, you need to manage your expectations. So here are some examples of expectations to have. You need to expect failure. If you expect perfection, if you expect that you're committing to something and everything will go smoothly and you won't ever have bad days, you're going to fail because it's inevitable that it's going to happen and it's going to destroy you if you don't expect that. So expect failure to happen. You also have to expect pain because when you're being self-disciplined and you're saying no to instant gratification and work instead, that can feel very difficult. That can feel literally like painful. But ask yourself, would you rather suffer the pain of self-discipline or the pain of regret? And I guarantee you, it's probably going to be self-discipline if you're a high achiever. You also have to expect to feel low motivation because motivation has an expiration date. You cannot rely on motivation to do things. Also, something that people don't understand about motivation is that you don't do things when you're motivated. You actually gain more motivation when you do the thing. You have to be self-disciplined first. You have to put yourself into this agitation phase before you focus to get into the rhythm, to get into the flow, and then you'll feel motivated because you will see yourself be in progress. When you sense yourself on track towards your goals, that gives you a reward. Like, it's so true. It makes so much sense. So you got to be self-disciplined first. Don't rely on motivation. When motivation is there, celebrate it, use it as fuel, like go for it. Let's fucking go. You have motivation. But when it's not there, it's okay because you have self-discipline. That was so lame. Also, expect to change because as you go on through this journey and as you commit, you will learn more about yourself. And it can be very frightening to realize that you have beliefs that no longer serve you. You will have to let go of your old self. You will kind of experience the death of your old self. And that can feel very scary. That can feel lonely. That can feel confusing. But just know that to enter into your new self, you have to let go of your old one and you'll have a period of grief. So if you feel like those little bouts of depressive states, that is very natural. That is normal because you're ready to evolve into a new person. So be ready to change some beliefs, to change some ideas, to change some perceptions, to change some desires that you thought you had. And then finally, this one I had to put in, but expect to feel dumb. Because the more that you know, the more you realize you don't know shit. So that's something that was a huge insecurity of mine, is that I really felt dumb. Because the more I learned things, I realized I did not know a lot of things. But that is just like a weird paradox that is fucking with us. Just expect that you will feel dumb and that we all feel that way. Just do your best and fall in love with learning. Fall in love with having a beginner's mindset and appreciating the little gifts of knowledge and wisdom that is given to you. The reason why it's so important for you to expect all these things is that when they happen, You won't panic because you expected that to happen. You'll know it's part of the process. You won't be phased. You won't be caught off guard because you didn't expect that to happen. You literally are hearing me talking about this right now and you know it's going to happen. So because you are prepared for this, that will allow you to be resilient. And when you're resilient, that's a recipe for success because it means that you do not give up. And when you don't give up, you will succeed because you will stay committed. Here's a summary of the 4 steps if you want to pause this. But if you want to have access to the whole presentation, you can find it in my private community that is free. And I had to put the gorilla there because if you're part of my community, you know that we're built different. We love that gorilla symbol because it just makes us feel strong and just on a different level. And we actually are, because we are literally challenging ourselves every single day to self-improve. We have each other and we have accountability. And if that's something that interests you, if you need accountability, you can also join the community. It's free. It's literally free. All you got to do is sign up in the link in my description, and you will be surrounded by like-minded individuals that literally are pushing themselves to be better every single day. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you very soon in a new video. Mwah.